Hi guys. Good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome to Cloud and DevOps real-time training. First of all, I would like to start the session by thanking each and everyone who has made a decision to spend some time with us to learn Cloud and DevOps. I promise that the next 90 minutes is going to be really exciting and interesting. Uh, without further delay, I would like to start the demo. And also I want to thank each and everyone for making your time with us, and congratulations to each and everyone for making a decision to learn something really exciting. And trust me, it's going to be very much interesting. So without investing any time further in this thing, let me try to start. So first I would like to introduce myself. So my name is, it's my profile, and my name is Manoj. I'm a working professional with 11 years of IT experience. I started my career in 2011. Almost 11 plus years of IT experience I have. I'm a working professional. Training is my part-time and my passion. And from last 9 years, I'm into training as a part-time. And I have trained and delivered almost 55 batches so far in my last 8, 9 years as a part-time trainer. And technically, this is my 56th batch. So 55th batch is almost coming to an end. It will be completed in a week, but this is my 56th batch. So I can say 55 batches are delivered. And I trained more than 1100 plus professionals and job seekers. That also means this training is designed keeping people who are coming from different backgrounds in mind. We start from basic to really advanced. That also means if we are starting something new, a brand new topic, I'll ensure I set the context, and whatever is needed, we are going to cover from the scratch. That ensures you understood very accurately what we are talking, because that is very much important to be in the same pace. Okay. And currently, as I said, I'm working as a lead DevOps engineer, and I'm working for one of the big enterprise company. My designation is a lead cloud architect, but technically that's an engineering role. I still work, not just managing the things. I work as a lead engineer. Technically, I'll also be referred as associate architect. And my experience is mostly around enterprise and enterprise grade organizations. In the beginning of my career, I also worked for a couple of startups. And I can say that that's one of the best decisions I have made. So I can say that 90% of my experience is on enterprise grade. Keeping that in mind, we even designed the course. That means whenever you want to, whenever I give an example or whenever I'm talking something, I'll keep the enterprise grade experience and expertise in my mind in talk. That really helps you when you're going for any interview or talking to anyone. Okay, that's a quick introduction about myself. And coming to the session timings, and since today's demo timing is 8 a.m. IST, but technically from tomorrow sessions are going to start. And if you're a student or a professional who is joining from India, the session timings are going to be Monday to Saturday, morning 6 to 7:30. And if you're joining from states, the session timings are going to be Sunday to Friday, 8:30 to 10 a.m. Okay, so from tomorrow, sessions are going to start 6 to 7:30 India time are the session timings. And from tomorrow, if you are from states, Sunday to Friday, 8:30 to 10 p.m. Eastern at the time. And if you are joining from a Pacific time or Central time, just do the plus or minus accordingly. Okay, and this training is hands-on and interactive training. That means it's not just I speak, you listen. It's all an interactive session. Since it's a demo session, I would like to talk few more minutes, and then I would like to give you an opportunity to unmute and talk. And if you're wondering that you're not able to mute, or if you're not having unmute or mute button, ensure you raise your hand. Whenever you want to talk to me, you have an option to raise your hand. The moment you click the raise hand button, I'll get an alert so that I can give you the ability to talk. This is just to ensure that parallel speaking or parallel conversation to avoid in order to enhance the quality of the conversation. In case if I want to talk, or in case if you want to talk, just click the hand raise option. That way you'll get an option to talk. Okay, so this is just to ensure the quality of the conversation to keep up to the top notch. Okay, it's not to restrict. As I said, it's not just online training, it's an online interactive training. So yeah, and if you want to talk anytime, you can place the hand raise button. But initially, since it is demo, I have 45 to 50 minutes I would like to speak. And during that time, majority of your questions would be addressed if you are patient, if you listen completely 50 minutes. And in case if the question persists, even after 90 minutes, we'll have 30 minutes of questionnaire where we can talk and where we can discuss on each and everything in detail. Okay. All right, guys. Perfect. So that's about my trainer profile. Okay, so next thing the next topic that I would like to talk about is agenda. Okay, we'll be very much stick to what we want to talk. Each and every session and each and every content is well designed. And it's not just theory. We're going to go everything in a very detailed approach. As I said, it's a real-time project-oriented training. Having said that, from day 6 itself, we'll start working on a project. And we are going to work on 2 projects. One is a very big project. It's an enterprise-grade project. And another is a monolithic project, which is a university-grade project. So both of them will work on it. Okay, this gives you a practical exposure from the week 2 itself. And this is a 135 hours of training program. That means the training takes almost uh, 2.5 to 3 months of time. We are very sure on that. Okay, and we follow Indian holidays sometimes and US holidays sometimes. Okay, that means we are very democratic on the holiday aspect. Okay, and the timings won't be changed at all. So when I say 6 to 7:30, they are 6 to 7:30. There won't be any change. Okay, and what are we going to talk in the next 1 hour? What exactly are we going to talk in the next 1 hour? I want to keep it very crisp. And the training is DevOps with AWS. We have a very known thing of trying to learn the technology directly rather than understanding what is the business. So in this training, I want to make sure each and every topic that you are going to learn is going to be interesting. To get that interest, in order to curate that interest in you, first we need to understand the business. So since this training is about cloud and DevOps, I don't want to talk cloud and DevOps at this point of time. I want to talk about how work, what is cloud, and how infrastructure was before cloud. What is DevOps? Why DevOps is needed? How organizations are delivering their work before the DevOps culture comes up? What is cloud? And how many business models are there in cloud? And which business model are we going to learn? And what's our approach? And what is the strategy that makes us completely stand out of the lot of trainings that are available in the market? And what makes us so special? These are the things that I want to talk. And how close are we to the market needs? So it's not like I teach, you learn. The end of the day, the goal is you should have a successful career transition and you should be in a position to attend almost all the interviews. If you complete this training, 90+% of the job descriptions are close to what we are going to cover in the training. So that's the reason our training duration is 10 to 12 weeks, close to 2.5 to 3 months. Most of the topics that we are going to take from the latest version and we are going to deliver. Okay, that's it. I want to keep the agenda very simple. And again, it all starts with SDLC, software development lifecycle. I don't want to introduce this complex word at this point of time, but I just want to go to the board and I want to talk. So this session, this training is cloud. What is cloud? First things, this is something I want to talk. This is something I want to talk. And I want to talk on this. And even before, I want to talk a small thing. Okay. So I started my career in 2011 in one of the service company. I don't want to say the name. One of the most famous service-based company in 2011, right after my college. Again, that time jobs were not good. So I got a job after 9 months of hard hunting. I got a job in Bangalore and I started my career. And I started my career as a Linux engineer. And in order to become a cloud and DevOps engineer, the very first thing they should know is Linux. Majority of the people don't know. If you don't know, don't worry. We're going to start from there. Okay, we want to ensure that whatever the prerequisites that are needed for this course are well versed covered. So we'll make sure that you know whatever we are going to talk. Okay, so I started my career in 2011 as a Linux engineer, and where my major job was to provision the servers to the software development team to test their applications. I joined in 2011. In less than 5 months, the project was decommed. I joined a project, and within less than 5 months, I was fired from the project. I was being offboarded from the project because the project is scrapped or the project is decommissioned. And you know the reason? That was a very big project, and it is one of the very big banking customer for the bank, where their requirement is to deliver some product. So that's a bank. They want to digitalize the experience of online transactions, something. But you know, it was scrapped in by the time I joined in less than 5 months. The project was scrapped. But that project, software project, is in the phase of development from last 6 months, from last 4.5 years. You know why the project was decommissioned and decided to scrap? The project was started in 2006. Whatever the requirement that was given by the customer to the software development company or the consulting firm, they're in the phase of development. It took 4 or 5 years by the time the product is coming to an end, the requirement that was given by the bank itself has changed. They no longer need the requirement. That means the customer, the client has given the requirement, and the software development company has developing the product, and they are delivering the product after 4 or 5 years. And by the time they deliver the product, they no longer need the requirement. I told you to construct a house, and you're being constructing the house from last 4 or 5 years, and now you got a different job and you're moving out of the town, so you no longer use that home, right? You'll just leave it and sell it and go. The same happened here. So it's not just that people who have started their career or worked in the phase of 2010 to 14, you would have seen a lot of projects would be stopping in the middle, or they decided they don't want to develop further and they want to leave it. It all starts with software development lifecycle and the way they are developing the software. Okay, so I'll give you a solution how a lot of software projects are developing so efficiently now, how a lot of companies are able to deliver the products at a scale. You take WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube, how they are able to deliver the products at scale is something was truly achievable with the power of something called as cloud. Okay, so even before that, so when you're talking about cloud, I also want to talk about a couple of things. How close are we? Okay, so another thing, applications. You take WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube, everything is an application, right? So I want to talk about them first. As I said, first we want to talk about business and then we'll talk about the aspects. When you're talking about the applications, okay, there are two types of applications. Okay, these are something that are very much important to start. Okay, so when you're talking about applications, there are two varieties of applications. One variety is client-based applications, and next is web-based application. What is a client-based application? What is a web-based application? So this is something I'm least interested about, but I would like to talk. And this is something I'm interested about, and the training and the entire business of software industry is around that. So we'll talk more about it. But before we say I don't want to talk about it, I'll say what is this? An application which can be used only if you install it on your computer is a client-based application. That means you take VLC player or MXC player. You want to watch a movie called Bahubali, and you have that MP4 downloaded on your computer. If you want to watch that, you need to install a player. And the player is MX player or a VLC player, which is a software that you need to install on your computer, right? These type of applications which needs to be installed on your computer to make it operate or work or run are called as client-based applications. And that's not the business. Right now, the business is web-based application. That means in order to access this application, you need to access to the web. When you say web, it's called internet. That means accessing the applications over internet from your browser are called as web-based applications. For example, I want to buy an iPhone. For example, you come here, Flipkart.com. Flipkart is a very famous e-commerce application in India. I would like to buy a product. So there is some sale going on. So since iPhone 15 has released, I'm very much interested about iPhone 15. So what I did, I'll just come here. I want to buy a product, iPhone. And I know iPhone 15, so I want to buy iPhone 15, iPhone 15 Pro. I don't want Plus. I want to buy 15 Pro, and I want 256 GB mobile. So I'll come here and I'll search for 256 GB or 1 TB. Since I have a lot of data, I just want to go with 256 GB. I'll come here and I'll say I want to buy the product, and I'll see what are all offers are available. And right now I'm I'm using some other phone which is not a part of the exchange. So I want to buy this. So what I do, I'll enter my code. For example, 560018. I'm in Bangalore. I'll come. I'll check whether the delivery is there or not. Yes, it's there. The shipping is going to be, and the product is going to be delivered to me by 1st of November. And I'm okay with that. And then I also check whether the seller is Truecom retail. And I also want to check whether the retail is there or not. And I would like to buy the product. And then I'll do the payment. Okay, I'll sign in, I'll do the payment, I'll enter the details, I'll complete the payment, I'll get the product. Here, in the entire process of doing the transaction, have you installed any software on your computer? 100% no. These type of applications are called as web-based applications, and that's the whole business right now. Okay, everyone want to develop their application so that people can access our web, or applications that can be accessed from your mobile in the form of a Android or iOS application. So all of them falls under the category of web-based application. And this is what we want to talk. And in the entire training, we'll talk about web-based applications. And here we are going to deal with two web-based applications, which is very much close to the industry. Okay, this is the point that we want to talk more. And this is the web-based application we are interested about. Okay, and if you observe, you're entering flipkart.com, you're going, you're searching, and it's showing, and it is fetching the information from somewhere, and it is showing you iPhone 15 Pro. And if it is iPhone 15 Pro 128 GB, you'll be shown a different price. And if it is 1 TB, it is going different price. That means somewhere something is there, and something is fetching that information and pressing it to you, right? In order to make this happen, you should have a server. A server is nothing but a computer. Again, computers are of two types: client-based application, client-based computer, and a server-based computer. When I say server-based computer, it's also a computer, but it's a big computer which is designed to be accessed by thousands of people. Okay, so computers are of two types. One is client-based computer, which you are using, and another is server-based computer, which is designed to handle thousands of requests and can be accessed by thousands of people. So that means there is a server. Server is nothing but a big computer with highest amount of resources. And these servers are offered by a lot of vendors like your HP, IBM, or Dell. Okay, these are the hardware providers. Okay, and in this, we are going to run some operating system like your Windows or Linux. 99+% of the industry uses, okay, open source applications uses Linux. So I would like to say Linux application. Okay, you have installed the Linux operating system and you're running the Flipkart application. Okay, or you're running the payment application. Okay, and behind the scene, you also have a database which has the information of your iPhone pricing and iPhone location. So this is also a Linux, and here you're running a database. Eventually, both of them are servers. Okay, on the top of servers only. Okay, you have a database. And since these servers are very much important, you don't keep them in your home, right? Obviously, you need to host them in a very secure place. Let's say there is a Diwali sale going on and someone tries to unplug the uh, payment server plug. What happens? Your server is down. That means your application is not accessible. That means you lose the business. So, and that's the reason you're not supposed to keep anything publicly available. So you'll keep this infrastructure somewhere private. And this private place where you are going to host your company's infrastructure. When I say infrastructure, servers, networking devices, storage devices, databases, in a private place called as a data center. Okay, and this is how we are going to organize things on the top of data center. This is how the information technology works. It's all resides on the top of servers. When I say servers, it's all about a Linux based operating system. Okay, so for example, how a data center looks like, how a server looks like. So let's talk about it. For example, IBM or Dell Blade server. This is how a server looks like. Okay, okay, this is how a server looks like. Again, in the servers, there are a lot of models, but technically speaking, this is how the server looks like. And these are all hosted on the top of some data centers. Google is known for maintaining one of the best in class data center. So I would like to show Google's data center. So typically, this is how a data center looks like. Okay, huge amount of servers would be there. Facebook, Google, YouTube, they are known for organizing one of the best infrastructure. So that's the reason I said Google's data center. Technically speaking, each and every company, you take any company, they have their own private farm of servers organized in a private place, and that place is referred as a data center. Okay, you go to Big Bazaar, you go to any shopping mall, they have their own data center locally and at a remote place as well. Okay, huge amount of wires, huge consumption of electricity would be consumed by this service. Okay, so this is one thing I want to talk. That means each and every organization will have this service. Okay, but maintaining the data center is a very big deal. And I'll also give you a reason why from 2012, 13, 14, software products are coming very quick. Even a college student, if he develop a product, he can deploy the infrastructure on the top of a server without the need of buying a data center, buying a server, and installing operating system. How it's possible? Okay, I'll talk about that. But maintaining a data center is not a small deal. It's a very big deal, and its maintaining is a very tough job. But in order to maintain data center, you need to be sure on these points. Okay, since all the computers are going to emit a lot of heat, okay, you need to maintain the room temperature. Okay, so there are some data center requirements that I'm going to talk. Okay, data center requirements. Okay, let's talk about the data center requirements. So heating is a big problem. So first thing first, you need to host a private place with security. First, in order to have a data center, you need to lease. You need to have a place, right? Host a private place with security. That means it falls under the category of real estate. You need to invest some time on the land. Okay. So if it is a big company, yeah, that's doable. What if a college student want to start a software company or a software product? Now, buy servers, buy hardware. When I say hardware, I want to talk about, okay, invest money in hardware. On hardware, that means you need to buy, you need to invest time to procure the hardware, invest money to procure the servers. It's a very capital intensive thing. And each and every computer, for example, if your computers are not giving a better performance, your IT team typically says that, hey, ensure you operate your computer in a very cold temperature. Do you really think why software company gives you an air conditioned room? Okay, it's not love on you. It's because the device that they offer you emits heat. And if it is not maintaining a proper temperature, and if the device is overheat, the performance of the computer won't be up to the mark, and the wear and tear of the computer will be reduced. And that's the reason they offer you air conditioned room, not just love on you. Okay, that means you need to invest money on hardware. And second thing, maintaining the temperature. Okay, each and every computer will emit heat, and to maintain the temperature, you need to have a data centers. Okay, should be equipped with air conditioning. Okay, so typically the suggested temperature is less than 19 degrees. That means round the clock. Since you are decided to run a round the clock business, 24/7 e-commerce business, you need to ensure your data center should also run round the clock. Okay, all the data centers should have round the clock data centers with equipped with AC. That means in order to AC and in order for your air conditioning and your data center servers to work, you need to have electricity. That also means you need to have 24/7 electricity. That is another point. Okay, and you cannot promise. No one can promise 24/7 electricity. I live in Bangalore. Okay, so sometimes I might have a power outage. So what I did, I also have a backup in my home just to ensure during the class or after the class or before the class, if I'm experiencing any outage. So I have one Bangalore supplied electricity and the other is my own electricity, which is a power backup. That means I have dual electricity. That means you also need to have power backup in your data center. If it is just a home of 2 bedrooms and 1 hall and 1 kitchen, it's possible to maintain a backup. If it is a very big data center with huge amount of servers, obviously you need to have a one more line. That means 2 lines of electricity from 2 vendors. Similarly, internet, dual internet. Okay, so I have Beam, I have ACT network, and at the same time, I also have Geo network, Geo fiber, just to ensure in case if ACT doesn't work, I have Geo. In case Geo network doesn't work, I have ACT. Because I teach classes, I want to ensure that I have a better network. So in order not to compromise on the network, I'm maintaining to an internet. Similarly, even the data center also, they maintain dual networks. That means they need to pay twice. And another thing, it's all about connections. You come here and see how many wires are there. How many wires? Can you see this at the top, bottom? Okay, so these many wires are there. That means you need to have a networking line, should be networking. Okay, networking should be enabled. That means you need to have network, storage, hardware team. Okay, you need to have a separate thing. And in order to accommodate all of these things, it's a very capital expensive thing. Okay. And that's the reason all of the above activities are at a capital expensive task. That means you need to invest upfront. Okay. And another very important thing is, okay, maintaining, I'm telling, right? So why maintaining data center is a very tricky job. And the reason is quite interesting. There is a concept called as hardware refresh. I'll give an example. What is hardware refresh? Okay. Um, okay. You're using iPhone 8, for example, and and Apple has released iPhone 15. And the moment they released one new version, they'll stop supporting the one old version. For example, right now they have stopped iPhone 8 support, hardware support. What exactly that mean? Anyone who is interested to talk? What do you mean by out of support? Okay, this software is not supported by Apple anymore. Anyone? If Apple says we are no longer supporting iPhone 8, what exactly does that mean? Anyone want to talk? Anyone? Anyone? I'm just giving you a unmute option. Who or wants to talk? Anyone?
I think
Oh,
Hi,
there
Man.
is a lot of questions. So
yeah,
I need
Lalita,
to.
go ahead.
I think the software has get updated and that is not working on the new version of the software.
That is in a software context. So when they say hardware out of support or software out of support, both of them almost same. When they say we no longer support iPhone, we no longer support iOS 14 or iOS 13, that means Apple is no longer going to release software updates for that application, for that particular version of operating system. If you're using an old MacBook which is released in 2010 or 11, you might not get the spare parts. For example, if your touchpad is not working or if your screen is not working, if Apple stops supporting that product, once they announce it, you no longer get those components. That means out of support. Similarly, in each and every hardware that they release, it happens the same way. Okay, once you buy a hardware from some vendor, they supports that product for certain period of time. After that, you won't get the hardware and you don't get the software for that. That means if you're using a legacy hardware and if you're using it after even they stopped supporting the product, the vendor stopped supporting the product. For example, if the server's motherboard or server's memory disk or server's processor is trashed, or if it is not is crashed, you won't get a replacement of it. That means you are going to experience a potential outage if you don't get a component. And that's the reason each and every hardware, each and every server you see here will have some lifetime, like 5 years, 6 years, 8 years, 10 years. After that, for every 5 years, 6 years, 8 years, as per the hardware, you need to replace the entire set of hardware with a new hardware. That also means it's a very capital intensive thing. Okay, so whenever they say hardware is out of support, okay, they announce it 3 4 years back. But for example, there is a server and Dell announces that we are going to stop supporting XYZ version of hardware model from 2028. That means before 2028 you need to move to a different hardware and you need to scrap the whole old hardware. That is a very capital intensive thing, and that's the reason, okay, that's the reason starting a software company and starting a product is going to be a potential deal to 2006 7 8 9. But if you observe, you can even see the ads in paper. A college student who is studying in 2000 first year, second year, he started a software company, he released a product. How it's possible for him to run a data center, to run a product? That's where the concept of cloud came up into picture. What is cloud? Why cloud? Let's talk about it. So for example, guys, you got a job. You are a 2022 grad. You got a job in Bangalore. You moved to Bangalore. Now you need to work in that company for some amount of time. You need to stay in Bangalore. That means you need to have a home, right? There are two options. If you're a rich guy, you can search for a flat nearby your office and you can buy the entire thing by paying 70 80 lakhs. There is one option, which is a capital intensive thing. And the second option is you can search in the same Bangalore, Magic Breaks or nobroker.com and search, I'm looking for a flat. You can search for people landlords who have posted their flat for rent. And you can sign up a list telling that I'm going to stay in your flat for the next 6 months. What is the rent for it? Okay, they say that, okay, sir, if you are going to stay for 6 months, the rent is 20,000. If you give me a commitment, if you sign a lease for 6 months, or 12 months, or 18 months, I'm going to make it for 17,000 or 15,000. This process is called as pay as you go. That means you are paying for what you are using. Pay as you go. Cloud is something which has introduced the concept in the space of infrastructure. When I say infrastructure, I'm purely referring to servers, network, everything, all the infrastructure needed for running your software. Okay, so cloud is the one which has introduced this pay-as-you-go concept. That also means if you want to use a server, you really don't have to buy a server. You really don't have to have a server. So for example, okay, I'll give you one use case. Yours is an e-commerce company where where your usual application would be running. This is your data center. And in this data center, you're having some 6 servers that are running the load, or 8 servers that are running. This is in general, okay, not during the business hours. So in order to run the business, you have 8 servers. 8 servers are running the application. Let's say data center of an e-commerce application. So whatever we are talking are very complex problems. I'm just trying to simplify it so that we can understand it easily. So we are having a data center with 8 servers. Okay. Now during the peak business hours, okay, during the regular business hours, your application can run on 8 servers. But during the sale time, like your Christmas, Black Friday, or during uh, big billion day sale and all, your workload, the number of people who are accessing your application are high. That means the number of servers that you need are very, very high. For example, your company has expected that the load is going to be on 24 servers. That means you need to have a minimum of 24 servers. Agree? And it might be 30 as well, but they said that minimum you need to have 24 servers, but we are expecting that it might even need 32 servers. So these 32 servers, so minimum, okay, utilization, regular utilization is 8 servers, but during peak business hours, you need to have 32 servers. And these 32 servers would be running, if you take an year, just in out of 365 days, they might be running with a high performance, or you would need 32 servers just 2 weeks in an entire year. So do you really think, does it make sense to buy these many servers just to run during this? Obviously, those 2 weeks are the 90% money making of your revenue of your company. But do you really think it is optimized just to run 4 days of workloads or 2 weeks of workloads? Do I really need to buy? Do I really need to keep this much amount of infrastructure in buffer? Anyone? But they are really making money. So you cannot say that, no, I don't want. You need to invest because you're making money. But are you using it 100%? Obviously no, right? But that's the only solution till 2016, till 2006 and 2007. Okay, every company used to buy huge amount of infrastructure, and they used to keep the rest of the infrastructure in buffer. Whenever they want, they used to turn it on. It's a very capital intensive thing, and they are just using 5% of what they have. That's how business used to happen, but none of the business right now are doing this way, because none of them want to invest their amount in buying hardware where they are going to use just 1 or 2% in a year. And that's the reason why everyone are behind cloud. Cloud exactly goes by pay as you go model. Okay, so in 2006, it all started in 2004. Okay, in 2004, a company named as Amazon. Okay, in 2004, Amazon, I mean, they are into this e-commerce business from a very long time. From 1995 itself, Amazon is into the space of selling products. They started with books, products over internet by using the web-based application. In 2004, they have seen the significant growth in their business, and they felt at the time there is no cloud business, and at the time they expected, okay, even in this training we'll anticipate what is the business that we are going to have, how are we going to forecast the resources that are needed, and what are the amount of CPU and memory that we need to allocate to the servers. This concept is called as benchmarking, and even in our training we are going to do the things on the top of an e-commerce project, and we'll also do the benchmarking just like how in real time we do. Okay, so coming back to the topic, in 2004 Amazon has seen a significant amount of growth. That means they forecasted that they would be needing these many amount of servers to run their applications. So they, right at the time they were running, for example 8, they forecasted that they would be needing 100 servers. So keeping that forecast in mind, what they did, they bought huge amount of hardware and they kept it in the data center. But later they realized but their forecasting is not correct, and they were not utilizing most of it, and majority of the infrastructure was lying idle. They're not using for what they have paid, even though they are making money. So one of the intern, or one of the one of the best brain in that company, Amazon, he suggested, why can't we offer our infrastructure as a service to people who are want? So who the hell, why people will use a server which is hosted in my data center? That means I can read the data of theirs. Why they would be using my server? So they qualified some certification of data, and then they released a business called as infrastructure as a business. Okay, that's where cloud all talks about infrastructure as a business. Okay, service as a business. That means whatever you want, I'll offer it as a service. You pay for me for whatever you use. Right now, none of the companies are buying huge amount of hardware and keeping it buffer. Now you go to any of the cloud provider and say that I want 100 servers, they'll give you. You use it for 15 days and you say I don't want, you just pay for 15 days. That's all, game over, done. I don't have to invest on hardware. Instead, I can invest my money and energy on human resources to develop the products. That's where this cloud came up into picture. In the space of cloud, okay, the major players in the market are, okay, so first cloud provider is no doubt Amazon Web Services. Okay, it's also shortly referred as AWS. They offer everything as a service over web, and that's the reason they refer it as AWS Web Services. Whatever the service, cloud service that is offered by Amazon is over web, and that's the reason they refer it as AWS Web Services. And the next big player is Google Cloud. It's also called as GCP, Google Cloud Platform. And next one is Azure. Azure Cloud is from Microsoft. So in our training, which one are we going to talk? Which one are we going to learn? Okay, so are we going to learn cloud, or are we going to learn DevOps, or are we going to learn both? So if you just learn one cloud, it's very tough to get a job. Okay, I'll also tell you the reason. I'll go and show you job descriptions, and this training is purely curated, keeping the real job aspects and goals in mind. I'll show you a few job descriptions, and whatever we are going to cover will be very much close to the requirement. Okay, so 75+% of the market is on AWS. You take any 100 customers, out of 100 customers, 75+% of the customer base is Amazon. Amazon is known for one of the best possible customer support, and they are known for best customer support. And at the same time, they started their business, cloud business, in 2006. And this Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure, all these things came up after 2014 and 15. That means this Amazon has a first customer advantage for almost a decade. Till 2015, cloud means Amazon Web Services. So Amazon Web Services has the first customer advantage, because it was a monopoly for almost 10 years. So there are no competition. Almost whoever wants to use cloud, they move to Amazon. Just like if I say toothpaste, the very first brand that comes into your mind is Colgate, even though you have Close-Up and Pepsodent. Why? Because Close-Up has been in the Indian market for more than 200 years, and everyone use Colgate just because that's the first product and they have the major customer base. And keeping that in mind, we'll stick to Amazon Web Services. But if you learn one cloud, rest of the clouds are almost the same. The only thing that changes is names. Okay, so if you learn AWS, and if you're a master in AWS, you can work on other two clouds. Okay, so in my career, I majorly worked on AWS and Google Cloud. And with my experience, you learn one cloud, rest of the clouds operate the same way. If it takes 2 months to 3 months to learn cloud and DevOps on AWS, okay, it just take 1 or 2 weeks to understand cloud. That's it on Google Cloud. Okay, it's very simple. It's just like if you know how to drive a Maruti car, it's same like driving a Hyundai car. Okay, so we'll stick to Amazon Web Services because majority of the market is on AWS cloud. So we'll stick to AWS cloud. Okay, and when you're talking about cloud in interviews, they'll also ask you certain things like, hey, what all types of services you have used in cloud. Okay, and in the meetings also you see something called as cloud business models. They'll talk when you join any managerial call and when you're applying for big positions, they'll ask about cloud business models. Okay, so this business model is something I want to talk. Okay, because you also need to understand, are we going to cover this or not? Okay, cloud business models. Okay, cloud business model is nothing but how they offer service. Right, so they are IaaS, which is also called as infra as a service. Next thing is infrastructure as service. I'll talk about this in detail because this is very much important. Okay, next is PaaS. What is PaaS? What is platform as a service? Again, I'll talk about it. And we don't try to bring anything ready-made. Okay, we'll try to build everything in front of you where we are searching, where I am searching. This training is not to ensure whatever. It's not just to ensure to teach whatever I know. I'll ensure that whatever is needed, how to get the information from the proper sources. That means I can make sure that throughout the training, if you follow the strategy that I'm following, you are self-sufficient and you can self-sustained in the company once you get a job. Okay, we don't just we'll go with the greenfield approach. That means everything will try to start building things in front of you. And third thing, software as a service. It's also referred as SaaS model. Okay, so these are the three types of businesses that cloud is operated at this point of time. What exactly these are? Okay, so cloud business model based on the shared responsibility. That means if Amazon is offering you some server, what you are responsible for as a owner of the server, what Amazon is responsible for as a provider of the server. These are called as responsibilities, and these responsibilities are called as shared responsibility model. So I'll talk about it: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service with a small diagram. Let me go here. Maybe this is somewhat helpful. And if anyone have any questions, don't worry, just wait for a few more minutes, 20 more minutes. I'm going to address all of them. Majority of your questions will be addressed. Okay, so when you're talking about infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service, all of them are talking about cloud. But what exactly are they different? Okay, so let me get some nice diagram. Yeah, I think maybe this is some nice diagram. Yeah, this speaks more. This speaks good. Okay, so these are called as a cloud service models. When I'm talking about on-prem, when you use the word on-prem, it's referred as a data center. That means if you are running an application in your own data center, you as an engineer is responsible okay, is responsible for the underlying network of your servers. You're responsible for the storage that you're storing the data. You're responsible for the servers. That means you are responsible for the maintenance, and you're responsible for the patching of the system. You're responsible for the data, and you're responsible for the application, because technically this entire infrastructure is running in your data center. So obviously end to end, you are responsible for it. Okay, this is in this responsibility, this is your server, you're responsible for it. And next thing, infrastructure as a service. Okay, this is one type of service offering from cloud. You take any cloud, the wording remains the same. Here the cloud provider offers you the underlying network, storage, servers, and the needed virtualization. Okay, you're responsible for the operating system, the needed softwares, the runtime. That means if you want to run some Python application, you need to have a Python application. And you're responsible for the data that you're storing. If you don't store your data properly, and if your data got exposed, and if your servers got hacked, the cloud provider is not going to take responsibility, because they offered you infrastructure. How you are going to use it is up to you. Amazon is cloud provider is not going to interfere. And at the end of the day, you are going to run application on the top of the server. And here, the responsibility of you is more and the cloud provider is less. I'll ask you one question, be ready. And second thing, in platform as a service, they offer you platform. Okay, so this service will be majorly used by companies where they don't have the DevOps team or where they do not have the cloud teams. Okay, where they don't want to, for example, you take a startup, they have development team, they might not be having infrastructure team. So they would go with the PaaS, platform as a service. That means I just want to run a Python based application, or I just want to run a front end application or a UA application. All I need to do is I need to tell the cloud provider, I need to use a front end application. Amazon is going to provide you the hardware, infrastructure, needed application, everything they are going to provide, okay, along with the runtime, including the runtime. For example, if you want to run Python, the Python will also be coming up and install and coming up. All you need to do is just run your application and you are responsible for your data. That means Amazon is responsible for the underlying software, operating system, virtualization, server, hardware, network. All you need to do is you just focus on your application development and run it on the service provider PaaS. Okay. All right. So here your responsibility is very, very less. You just focus on your application development. And SaaS, this is a very interesting thing and it's most happening in the industry. Now, everyone are developing their own softwares and rather than they giving it to you as a license, if you want to use it, you need to pay me license. Rather what they're doing is they are going with a SaaS model. That means software as a service. That means whatever the software that you want, I'll just give you, you pay me for whatever you use. Okay. I'll give you an example. Earlier, if you remember, when you join any IT company, what they typically used to do, on the top of your computer, they install MS Office. For example, if you take this as a computer, on your computer, you are going to have, okay, listen carefully. These are very important. Okay. On your computer, they used to install, since Microsoft Office is very famous, they used to install MS Office, right? Your company used to come and they used to install Microsoft Office. Agree? And what are the presentations that you want to make? What are the Word documents that you make? Everything are on this computer. Agree or not? This is your personal computer and all the company data is residing on this. Now you're traveling on a metro and you lose your computer. Now what happens to all the presentations on this computer? Anyone? Anyone? What happens to all the presentations in this computer? You lost your computer. You lose it, right? Because the software is installed locally and the data is stored locally. But right now, the same Office, okay, so Office is just an example, they are offering it as Office 365. That means the same software, okay, the same software will be installed on Microsoft Office, okay, on the what do you say, just a second, the same MS Office is going to be installed. That means in the Microsoft data center, they have very big servers with MS Office installed. Okay, what they do is they install it somewhere and they'll offer it to as you as service. That means if you want to access MS Office, you just need to sign in. That's it. Okay, so when you join any company, your IT team will give you username and password. You enter your username and password, you can access your application. That means from your browser itself, you can access your Outlook. In the browser itself, you can access your Excel. From the browser itself, you can access your Word document. So you are storing everything on cloud. Okay, here the infrastructure is someone else. Okay, application is someone else. Data is storing somewhere else. Okay, but you are able to access. Now here, if you lose the computer also, you really don't have to care. Okay, you don't have to install it on your computer. That means you don't need to have a powerful machines. And second thing, you don't have to buy license. Okay, and whenever you buy any sort of license, you need to renew the license. Okay, so typically you take Windows 8 or Windows 10, which you as a home user uses. You just buy once, you use it lifelong. But enterprise, you buy a license, they need to renew it for every 3 years or 1 year, I don't remember. So, but with this software as a service, you just need to pay for how many days you use. That's it. That is just Office is an example. Even databases are offering software as a service. So in our training, which one are we going to use? Infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, or software as a service in Amazon? We are going to use all three. Okay, so that is the beauty of our training. We are going to consume all possible services. Infrastructure as a service we'll use, PaaS will use, SaaS will use. Even when you're going to interview, if the interviewer asks what all SaaS services that you have used, how you integrated with Amazon Cloud, these kind of questions will also can be addressed by you if you complete the training with us. All right, and that's the beauty of cloud. All right, guys. I hope there are no questions so far. Okay. Now, another important thing, since we know what is cloud, cloud is just a service provider for whatever the services that you want to use. You want to use the infrastructure. There is an infrastructure as a service. You want to use the database. You have database as a service. You want to use a software as a service. All of them are provided by your cloud provider. And we are going to talk more about cloud provider. And again, before you join the training itself, I spoke to majority of you guys. You guys mentioned that Manu, I heard that Manoj, I heard that there are huge amount of job openings in the space of cloud and DevOps. Is it true or not? Okay, I said that yes, but why you need to believe me? Okay, what is the proof that the job market is huge in the space of cloud and DevOps? Okay, let me talk about it. Okay, as I said, in order to appreciate what's going on, you need to understand how business is operating first, then we can land from there. So earlier, for example, this is how business works, right? So this is a data center, for example, is a data center. For example, let's take a hierarchy. This is a data center. Okay, data center is just a place where you're hosting your infrastructure, and on the top of the data centers, eventually you want to run your applications. That means you need to have server. Again, we talk about what is a server. Server is just a big computer with highest processor, memory, and all, which is designed to be accessed by multiple number of people. Okay, so you are having servers. Okay, so since you are having servers, so we need to have a servers team. For example, have servers. Let's talk about these in detail. Okay, then it gives you a appreciation and a boost on, oh, learning this will give me an opportunity, will help me in my career transition. So as I shown in the earlier data center diagram, it has a lot of servers, and at the same time you're going to store a lot of data. That means you need to have storage servers as well. Okay, this is how a storage server looks like. Okay, it's a big box with huge amount of disks collectively called as a storage server. Okay, and even in this training we have storage team. Okay, and I'll also tell you the reason why storage people are coming more. Okay, this is how a storage server with a lot of disks attached. Okay, you need to have these servers, and next you need to wire all of them, right? So you need to have a network devices. Copy this network. Done. Okay, now you need to, why you need to have servers? First thing, because you want to run applications, right? Your payment application or your finance application or your HRMS application, you need to run the business, right? So you need to have an application. So you're going to run huge amount of applications, huge number of applications, whether they are in-house build or out-house build is secondary thing. Okay, and another thing, since you are having huge infrastructure, you need to have a monitoring team as well, right? That's technically referred as a NOC team. Okay, whether the server is up or not, whether the service is up or not, who is going to do that? Okay, so you need to have a operations team, and the team is conventionally referred as a NOC team, network operations center. Okay, all right, now I'll be using a different color to show who owns. And data center will be managed by a separate team, and the team is referred as operations. Okay, data center will be managed by operations team. Let's talk about this. Okay, let's see how many teams are involved. And second thing, servers are managed by Linux because majority of the infrastructure runs on Linux. So you need to have a Linux administration team. And to manage the storage servers, you need to have a storage admin team. Okay, you need to have a storage admin team. You need to have a storage admin team. And similar to manage the network, you also need to have a network admin team. Okay, you need to have a network admin team as well. That is inevitable. Okay, because you're maintaining things, you're responsible for things. I even worked in till 2014 and 15. I even worked in this kind of environment. Okay, where multiple teams are involved. Okay, because you're running multiple applications, you need to have multiple things. And applications will be typically managed by application team. So typically they are referred as a middleware team. Okay, we can also call it as an application team. Let's call it as a middleware team. Okay, middleware is also a kind of technology which helps you in establishing communication between two different applications. Let's call it that way. Okay, and operations. Since you are having operations, you need to have an operations team who looks after things and see whether if things are not working, who checks, and if there are things are not working, they'll reach the admin team. Now, with the evolution of cloud and with the establishment of cloud, people are not investing rigorously in their infrastructure. Rather, they are going to cloud. And if you go to cloud, you know what? Operations would be managed by, you don't need operations. Okay, you don't need network operations, data center operations. You don't need data center operations. Everything will be managed by a single team called as a cloud DevOps team. That means you guys, once you complete the training, you fall under the category who is responsible for managing everything end to end. How that's possible? Let me give you answer. Okay, since you are using cloud, you don't need to have a data center. That means there is no need of operations, right? Someone else manage that's, but not you. That means there is no need of data center. And second thing, there is no need to maintain just a Linux team. That is one point you should be very clear. Okay, you really don't have to worry about this because this will be managed by the separate team. Okay, you don't need the servers to be managed because you're not going to own the Linux server because you're just going to maintain it. And storage, since your servers are not on with you, you don't need to buy storage infrastructure. Again, this will be maintained by a separate team, which is a cloud and DevOps team. And since your applications are hosted on other servers, you really don't need someone who just know the application. Okay, so applications, this can also be skipped and can be maintained by the cloud and DevOps team. And next, this NOC, you really don't have to own a big operations and maintain all these things manually. You can also achieve it with the help of cloud and DevOps team. And this is the reason why companies are not investing in the conventional infrastructure, because it is going to employ a lot of teams, and if lot of teams, lot of management, and lot of management also involves a lot of capital intensive thing. And that's the reason companies are not effectively investing money and their investment on the top of physical infrastructure. Instead, they are going to cloud. If they go to cloud, they really don't have to invest on these many applications, these many servers, these much human power. Instead, they can hire one application team who can do all of these things. Okay, these guys in a conventional team, DevOps team, can do the network, can do the operations, can do the storage activity, can run the applications, can monitor the things, can design the monitor, can automate everything end to end. And that's the reason you see the number of positions that are open for cloud and DevOps are drastically increasing. And there is also a report published recently which says there is a crisis in the DevOps team. That means we have huge amount of DevOps jobs, cloud and DevOps jobs, but we are not finding the right skilled people. Okay, that also means if you learn the right way, if you gain right expertise in this training, you will be in a position to clear almost all the interviews. If you practice, again, on a first interview, clearing an interview might not happen. I saw a certain set of people who attempts the interviews, who they learn, they will be very confident, but they might fail, but they'll succeed. You should not give up. Okay, anything you're going to learn for the first time in this training will be very much complicated, not just this. And if I'm teaching something in a simply, if you're understanding everything, there is also a retrospective that you need to make, because if things are easy, don't think that you're going the right way. Anything you learn for the very first time, you should feel it as a complicated. So this training is really going to be complicated. And having said that, we'll ensure that we'll try to teach you in a very proper way. Everything will go with some nice charts. Everything goes in a project oriented approach. We'll make sure you and me work together for the next 2.5 3 months. And it won't look like just training. It feels like you're doing some internship with me. Okay, it feels like we are all starting a company where we are building the things from the beginning. Okay, so it's not like a sir and student approach. It's we train like a team. Okay, we want to build a product, we don't know, we are learning, and we are working together. And that's the reason we'll try to do the things together. I mean, when I say together, we'll try to do things in front of you. Okay, and this is one of the reason why huge amount of jobs are there in the space of cloud and DevOps. Again, going back to the same story. Okay, I want to talk few more topics. It all starts with software development lifecycle. In the beginning, I told when I joined a company, within 3 months, the project was scrapped, right? Why? It's not just because 6 months of my work. I came there 6 months. Even before that itself, the project is there. And the project is been in the development from last 4.5 years. By the time the customer sees the product, hey boss, the requirement which I have given is no longer valid. My requirement has changed. So I want to scrap the product. Why they have to do that? That's because the way they are developing the software, okay, is different. Okay, so just like how you construct a house, similarly the way you develop the software is also different. For example, you have a plot and you want to construct a 3-story building, and that plot has a lot of garbage in it. The very first thing that you do is you just hire an engineer. The engineer says that, sir, I want to take measurements of the flat, so can you please hire some daily workers and clear the plot and make it playing ground. That is step number 1. And the engineer comes here and try to take the measurements. He'll try to survey the plot and he'll try to suggest, he'll take a soil test and he'll say that, sir, you want to construct 3 stories, but this floor is capable of constructing or holding 5 floors. If you're interested, we can make it. And he'll ask, okay, how much, how many rooms you are expecting, whether you want this to be luxurious or you are constructing this for the thing of high, renting it, or what is the compound size you're expecting, what is the floor size that you're expecting, how big parking you want. That means here the engineer and the customer, they're talking about something called as a requirement analysis. Here the customer, me, who is the owner of the plot, gives the requirement to the engineer. Now the engineer tries to take all the requirement and he'll suggest and he'll give me a budget. And then I'll start designing the plan as per the budget that you have given. And that design, I'll give it to the constructor, or I'll give it to a person who contractor who can start the constructions. By looking at the requirement, I designed the document and I designed the plan, and the contractor will follow the architectural diagrams and the things that I have given, and they'll build the house, right? Exactly. So the same goes with software as well. And in this place, we call this process as a software development lifecycle. Again, in the software development lifecycle, there are huge amount of models are there, but I'm talking about only 2 models. One model is one of the most popular and a long-lived model called as a waterfall model. Okay, you take any engineer who started his career in 2000 or 2010, then they would be knowing this. Or if you're coming from the computer science background itself, you should be knowing it. If not, I'll teach that. So in the waterfall model, which is nothing but the software development method, the first phase is gathering requirement. For example, a bank who wants to digitalize the process of sending the money from your bank account to other bank account. That's a process, that is a requirement. In that requirement, if the bank wants to digitalize, they need to approach a consulting firm, software consulting firm, or a software development company. There, the product team talks to the customer telling that, hey sir, thank you very much for coming, how can we help you? And the bank team will say that we want to digitalize the process, and this is our bank and this is a customer base, we are having huge amount of servers, our customers are facing these challenges, we want to give them the best possible experience, and for that we want to give them the digital experience where they can do the things from the matter of the browser. Then the bank will give all the requirement. That means here, if you notice, the requirement gathering is the first phase of the software development if we are going with the waterfall model. Now, the very first phase is always the requirement gathering. Once the requirement gathering is completed, maybe the requirement gathering takes 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months as well, because it goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. After a huge amount of meetings, based on the requirements, the technical documentation team document everything, and the chief architect in the organization designs the requirement, how it can be delivered. And once the blueprint is ready, okay, this design will be given to the software architect, software development architect, and that architect decides, okay, this is a very big software. This needs to be developed by these many amount of developers. I need these many developers, these many deployment engineers, these many testers. So like that, they'll start implementing it. They'll start develop it and then they'll implement it. And you know what? And for example, when they started the implementing and designing the product, and if it is almost 1 year, and after 1 year, and if the bank comes and says, I want to add 4 more features or 2 more features, then in this model, it is not possible because they documented everything, they started implementing, and they cannot go back. You take a glass of water, you pour them. It cannot come up, right? The direction is only once from top to bottom. Similarly, going back, once the requirement is given, you cannot go back in the waterfall model. Waterfall model, if the customer gives a requirement, it takes 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. Because in waterfall model, we develop the software as an entire unit, entire piece we are going to develop. And that's the reason it takes huge amount of time for the customer to see the product. And if you observe, if you observe when you're doing your schooling, Windows 7, Windows 8 updates used to come very late. For example, if you are using Windows 7, the software updates for that operating system used to come once in a year or once in 6 months. And if you see the software updates of any machine are coming for every week, every 2 weeks, every month they are coming. How fast they're developing the software, how fast they're releasing updates, how it's possible? Let me tell you the answer is they are going with a methodology using DevOps, a methodology called as Agile methodology. What is this Agile methodology? Who developed it? So in 2012 and 13, I don't remember the date exactly, a group of frustrated engineers from one of the big company, they felt that whatever we are doing is nonsense. We are wasting a lot of money. We are wasting a lot of time. These are all the group of frustrated engineers who came out and they presented a white paper on how can we expedite the development process using a methodology called as Agile. So Agile methodology says that rather than you developing the whole product together in a shot, rather you take a small feature in an application and take 1 week or 2 weeks of time and design the product, show it to the customer. And if the customer is okay, add the second feature, add the third feature, add the fourth feature. So rather than taking ages of time, you take one small feature of the application and develop it. And usually in organizations, this is in this agile methodology, we take one period of time as sprint. Sprint can be 2 or 3 weeks. Okay. So when you work in agile methodology, you don't have to go by on call or the shifts won't be rotational because things are very much planned. Okay, you worked with the development team. Okay, so they plan the sprint is nothing but next 14 days what you are going to do, and sprint can be 21 days as well, but majority of the times it will be 14 days. You'll plan what we are going to do for the next 14 days. We'll do that, we'll demonstrate it to the customer, and if it is good, we'll add some feature to the next thing in the sprint 2. And if it is good, then we'll go to the next sprint and we'll add the feature. Likewise, we'll develop the product, we'll show to the customer, we'll take the feedback, we'll work on it. And if the feature 2 is not good, or if the product that you developed is not good, we'll rework again as per the customer expectation. So this way, customer has the understanding of what's going in the product, and you'll also understanding whether things are going in the right direction or not. And this process of going is called as a constructive feedback loop. Rather than going blindly and showing the product at the end, you are going in a constructive feedback loop by multiple iterations. A classic example you can also think. Okay, so for example, what is every one of you use WhatsApp, right? So what is the first feature of WhatsApp? Anyone? What is the first feature released by WhatsApp? Anyone? Texting, right? Texting over internet. Okay, earlier we are using mobile service. We use a service called as SMS, which can send by paying, but but WhatsApp offers an application which uses where you can send over internet, right? And then later they release smileys where you can express, um, you can wink, you can smile, you can show finger, you can show victory symbol, smileys. And then they introduce groups where a group of people can chat with 32 members initially. And since it became very good, they increased the size of the group to 252. And then they also want to have voice over call. Voice, that means you can make a voice call. And then they introduce a group call. And then they introduce video call. And then they introduce group video call. right? And then they also introduced another feature called as UPI, where you can even do the payment from UPI. So here from the beginning of the day, we don't have all the features. We started adding the features. See, because even they are going through the agile methodology and they're adding the features. They first developed this feature. There was a hit model, and then they added the features, and then it is a hit model, and then they added the features. It's a hit model. And also in between, they also introduced a paid service. WhatsApp, you need to pay 300 rupees per month if you want to use WhatsApp. Okay, but customers are not ready to pay. What they did, they just revoke the feature, right? Rather than deleting or going back or destroying the whole WhatsApp, what they did, they just released the feature, right? This exact process, rather than developing the whole product, instead going incrementally by taking the feedback from the customers or from the client and developing the product. So this is exactly what it says. You plan the product, design it, build the product, test it, review it, and release it to the customers. And if it is good, go to the next. And if it is good, go to the next. Even exactly, even in our training, we are going to go through the way, and we are also going to talk more about in the agile methodology as well, the training. Okay, in agile there are no conventional teams, and if you observe, earlier you used to have the uh, terms called as, hey, you are the team lead for this team. Now there is no such concept. Okay, now the concept is tech lead. Okay, in the backend conventional teams, if an application, if something doesn't work, we say that, hey, go to the development team. And the dev says that, hey, it is a working fine from my end. Go and talk to the testers. Now you go to the tester, and tester say that, no, it's not my issue. Go and talk to your manager. And your manager says that this is a network issue. Go and talk to the network team. Now here, there are a lot of teams involved, and the blame game is there, right? First, you are not accepting, and instead you're passing the ball between different teams because multiple teams are involved. But in agile methodology, we work as a lead. Okay, each and every person takes the responsibility and works as a team. And that's the reason in agile team, you won't have more than 8 members in a team. A typical agile team is a team of 8 to 9 people. Okay, there will be one person who lead the agile, and that guy is called as a scrum master. Okay, and here the chances of blame game is very less, and agile always says psychological safety is very important. That means you'll not be finger point at telling that, hey, you did the mistake. That psychological safety is very much important in organizations, that will be facilitated to you by the same agile team. Okay, rather than hosting big teams, we go with small teams, because you take 10 teams, out of 10 teams, the team which performs the best is the team with the less numbers. That's one of the observation from agile, and that's the reason none of the team size should be greater than 10. Okay, and in our training we try to develop and we'll try to do the things using the same. But Manu, I got to know what is cloud, what is this, but where this DevOps come? Anyone want to answer what is this DevOps? Why we need DevOps? Anyone? What is DevOps and why we need DevOps? Anyone? Anyone? What is the buzz in the industry? Why you need DevOps? Anyone? 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 I would like to pass this. Whoever is interested to answer. If you raise your hand, I can give an option to talk. Yeah.
This is a combination of like development and operation. So just we took a day from the development and took a ops from the operation.
Okay. So a lot of people, may I know your name?
Ravi.
Okay. Thank you, Ravi. So first of all, DevOps is not development plus operation. So a lot of people will think DevOps involves coding. So do I need to develop an application plus operations? That's not correct. It's not, you don't do development and you do operations. You do development related operations. This is the right thing. So what is this? So earlier guys, development team, okay, works like a silo. Operations team work like a silo. That means development team don't know how operations are going to install the product and give it to the customers. And operations team don't know how these guys are developing and testing the product. They both are silos. And if the operations are not there, and if operations are not there, development team don't know how to test their product. And if the development team is not there, operations don't have a job. And since they don't know what each other are doing, always the development operations used to take a lot of amount of time. And that's one of the reason why earlier you used to get 6 months once an update. Now you're getting just 1 week, 2 weeks also you're getting software updates. Because with the introduction of DevOps team, okay, the development related operations are collaboratively worked both by developers and the operations by the team called as DevOps. Okay, starting from the development of the product, the intervention of DevOps would be there. Okay, DevOps should know how they are developing, where they want to develop, what is the scale of the product, where they want to develop the product, what is the availability of the product, everything they should know. Okay, so there is something called as uptime, SLA. Okay, SLA is nothing but when you're developing the product. Okay, so based on how much availability you're promising to the customer, you need to design the product. Okay, at the end of the product, if the operations say that this product cannot be available for these many hours, development would be shocked, right? For example, you are developing a software as a service product where you are promising 99.99% up. That means in a month, your application can be a maximum of 43 minutes down. For example, when you're buying a product and if they say this product is 99.999% off, that means they are promising you a maximum of 26 seconds, your application would be down. Each and every product that is being released in the internet will have a uptime. For example, have you ever seen Google Chrome down for a time? Have you ever seen YouTube down? Have you ever seen Maps down? Very rarely, right? Because they promise 99.999% uptime. You ask, what is the SLA uptime of Google search? Okay, maybe it is the bad question. What is the uptime SLA of AWS EC2? See what they're telling. Amazon EC2's SLA guarantees that the service is available for 99.99% up. That means Amazon is offering you server as a service, that they're promising you that their servers can be up around the clock, but they are assuring you that your servers won't be down to a maximum of 4 minutes 21 seconds overall in a month. In order to build the product keeping these goals in mind, developers should know what operations are doing. Operations should know developers are doing. Okay, so here the DevOps are going to make sure. Okay, so that's about is it's not development plus operations. You are responsible for development related operations. The DevOps team collaboratively contribute and work with the developers, and the developers will share the insights to the DevOps. They both collectively work to share to deploy to release the software with the highest possible pace. And that's what DevOps comes from. And if you ask me, what are the roles of a DevOps engineer? The main roles of a DevOps engineer is to take the code from the developers and ship it to the higher environment. Okay, in any organization you take, okay, you take any servers, okay, the server, if it has to go to production, that means if it has to go to the customer facing, it has to be qualified in test environment, development environment, QA environment, and prod environment. Okay, so you'll have multiple environments and it has to pass through all the environments, and at the same time the release of the software should not involve the downtime, or with the least possible downtime. You need to ensure that you ship the code across the environments without any issues. That's the main goal. Now from last 1 or 2 years, you're also hearing a word called as site reliability engineering. Are we going to cover that? Are we going to cover that? Yes. Okay, this course also going to talk about SRE. What is SRE? I'll talk about it. So the main role of the DevOps engineer is you need to use the best possible open source stack that ensures no licensing, and at the same time using these tools, and with your mindset and capability, you need to design the things in such a way that where you can ship the code or your release from lower version to higher version with the least possible downtime. That's it, or the zero downtime. And that is your main role. And this is majorly done on the top of cloud. Even on-prem, we do the same. But since the business is majorly on cloud and this training is on cloud, we talk more in a cloud perspective. Okay, so what is this SRE, where this comes from? Okay, so typically in a smaller organization or in the small projects, you won't have SRE. Okay, so majorly when the organization or when the project is big, we isolate the roles. Okay, so typically site reliability engineers handles the deployment of things at production grade. Okay, rest of the environments DevOps take. Okay, so whenever you want to do any sort of deployments, the site reliability engineer SRE team will does that. Okay, and second important thing, SRE stands for site reliability engineering. They focus more on the observability. They focus more on the observability. That means how your application is doing. Okay, what is the latency of your product? Okay, how many requests are coming? How many transactions are happening? Is there any issue? Is there any outage? If outage comes, how to fix all these things? These guys are going to do. And in my previous batch, Okay, in my previous batch, we have built one of the best possible dashboards. Let me show you that with an example. And in our training, this training is, as I said, it's very much practical and very much close to the industry standard. And how in projects, how we develop the product and how we create the observability dashboards on what is needed is also something we are going to extensively talk in this training. So this is my previous batch dashboards. Let me try to show you that dashboard. It's going to be interesting. And I could also see a lot of questions in the chat window. I notice all of them. Very soon I'm going to address all of them. Just bear with me for 10 more minutes. I would need 10 more minutes to wrap the content. I have a few more things. For some reason it's slow. Come on. Why? Is my voice audible? Can someone please respond yes? Anyone?
Yes, it is audible.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Prem. Thank you, everyone. I got few responses. Appreciate that. Okay, let it load. So Google has mentioned in order to have the best observability platform, okay, you need to understand what's going on in your application. And in this training, we are going to develop deep insights from the application that we are going to work. We are going to work on two applications. One of the application is an application with 12 servers, and another application is an application with 3 servers and another application with 12 servers. One is monolithic and another is microservices. And the projects that we are going to work, both of them are one of the most standard and of the most enterprise grade projects that we are going to work in this training. And training of a project is going to start from day 6 or day 7 once we are done with all the prerequisites. Okay, that's one thing I want to talk. These dashboards I'm going to demonstrate once it is up. Yeah, so I think this is up. 1 minute. So again, as I said, we work, the training is mostly collaborative. It's going to be very much interactive. And if you see the dashboard, okay, and if you see the dashboard, we are going to develop the dashboards in such a way that even in your organization, almost all the management team, everyone looks at these kind of dashboards. And these are the observability dashboards. And this is the scale that we are going to do. So all these products, applications, we are going to do the same way. Okay, we are going to develop whether things are up or not, whether this is down or not. These nice dashboards, things are also developed as a part of the training, and everything will be shared with you as well. Okay, and you will be guided on how to do, how to implement in front of you. We are in front of you guys. I'm going to develop all these things. Okay, so yes, the answer is yes. We are going to cover SRE. Okay, and are we learning the market needs? First things first. How close are we to the market needs? Okay, so let me also talk. So there is a nice website called as Roadmap. You take any technology. Okay, so in the roadmap dataset, let's see how close are we to the market standards. So in 2023 or 2024, if you want to become a cloud and DevOps engineer or an SRE, what are all needed? Okay, so you need to learn one programming knowledge. If you have Python or if you have Bash, anything is fine for the configuration management. In our training, we are going to learn Bash. Okay, so Python, I have a plan to add, but you really don't need just to become a DevOps and cloud engineer. Python is not really needed. So let's not worry about it. An operating system, you need to know Debian or SUSE or Red Hat. So we are going to learn Red Hat Linux. So purple indicates you need to know at any cost. Yes, we are going to learn Red Hat Linux. And here for the web servers, we are going to learn Nginx and Tomcat, both of them. And all these concepts we are going to learn GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, and load balancing. And in the space of containers, Docker is very famous. We are going to learn this. And in the space of cloud, AWS cloud or Google cloud or Azure cloud are needed. So we are going to learn Azure cloud. And then in the in the infrastructure as a code, okay, in that space we are going to learn Terraform. Terraform is a leader. Terraform supports 4,000 plus cloud providers. And in you take any job descriptions, trust me, 9 out of 10 job descriptions demands Terraform, and without Terraform, getting a job into cloud and DevOps is not possible. And in this training, 35 to 40 hours of our training is exclusively on Terraform, and we are going to learn Terraform on a production grade approach where you can even apply in your production. That much strong and intense training of Terraform we have. Okay, and in the space of configuration management, Ansible is famous, we are going to cover. And in the space of CI/CD, Jenkins or GitHub Actions or Circle CI is needed. We'll go with Jenkins. 90+% of the organizations uses Jenkins. Jenkins is open source and free. You don't have to pay anyone. And in the space of secret management, we'll use Vault. Okay, and in the infrastructure monitoring, we'll use both Prometheus and Grafana. And in the application monitoring, we will be using Elastic Stack and log aggregation. And in the space of container orchestration, we are going to use EKS. And for the Kubernetes, we are going to use EKS. And we are going to use Artifactory and Nexus to store our products. And the only thing that we don't cover, didn't get an opportunity, is Istio services. That's it. Keep learning. That means whatever a third-party company rates in order to become a DevOps engineer, whatever is needed, 95+% of the topics we are going to cover in this training. Okay, and now you take any job description. For example, I'll take Google. Let's search in the internet as well. DevOps jobs Naukri in Bangalore, India. You take any two jobs. Okay, so DevOps engineering job in Bangalore. Okay, click on it. Why my network is slow? You take any few job descriptions. Okay, we'll see how close are we to the market standards. And if you see this, they're looking for a DevOps engineer with CI/CD resource. They didn't mention the salary, but if you see the skill set, this is a DevOps role, but they're looking for cloud. And here they're mentioning some cloud. AWS is something they want. Okay, that means DevOps job want cloud and cloud job want DevOps. If you just learn AWS, it's tough. You cannot get a job. And if you just learn DevOps without cloud, no, you can't. You take any job description, whether it is a cloud engineer role or a DevOps engineer role or SRE role, all the roles might sound different, but technically you do the same thing. And I have randomly taken 3. Jenkins, yes, we are cover. GitLab, yes, we are going to cover. And a deployment tool, Jenkins, we are going to cover. SonarQube, we are going to cover. Selenium test cases we have. This is a remote role. And next thing, it's a lead role. And if you complete my training, you're equivalent to 4 to 6 years of experience guy on cloud and DevOps technologies. Easily you can showcase that you have 6 years of experience. And if you see this, they're looking for infrastructure as a code. Yes, we have. Jenkins CI/CD pipelines. Yes, we have. Kubernetes we have. And containerization, Elastic Logstash, Kibana we have. And a DevOps platform with Jenkins. Yes, we have. And guidance to the DevOps members. Yes, we are going to do that. And proficiency in automation like Bash, Python, or PowerShell. We are going to learn Bash. And CI/CD using Jenkins and Docker and Kubernetes or AWS, IAC. See, 90+% of any of the job description we are covering. And you take this, any job description, 90+%, this is another job. Let me take this. Okay, so that is a length and breadth of the training that we are going to cover. Okay, here see, deep understanding of VPC, S3, cloud formation, version control, all of them we are covering, all of them. As I said, it's an open statement, 90+% of the job descriptions, my training is close to 95% of it. Okay, you complete the training, you're equivalent to 4 to 6 years of experience professional. All right, so the answer is yes, we are covering the market needs. Okay, so 90+5% of the market needs we are covering, and that's the reason my training duration is 135 hours. Okay, so I just randomly taken 3 job descriptions out of 1,000, all 3 matches whatever I'm teaching. And third thing, who can pursue the course? How is the market for DevOps? What are the services that we offer as a part of the course? And what is the level of experience that you can portray after the training? The answer for that is, this is my previous batch and this is my GitHub profile. Once you complete the training, okay, remind me later. Once you complete the training, you are equivalent to an engineer with 6 years of experience. You can even showcase the work that you have done in the training. Okay, so GitHub is a great way of demonstrating your work. When I'm going to any interview, when someone asks some questions, I answer them, and at the same time, I'm going to show them with an example with whatever I have done. Okay, I'll go here and I'll show that I have done that. I have done this. I'm going to show that. Okay, so when you talk to someone by these things, okay, they understand that you know. It's just like an Instagram profile for an photographer. Okay, so we are all going to contribute 30+ repositories on GitHub. This is a very powerful tool, by the way. Okay, so the level of experience is 6 years you can show, 4 to 6 years of experience you can easily show. And who can pursue the course? The very simple prerequisite who can pursue the course is I am okay to teach with anyone who is coming with a mindset. Yes, I am ready to learn. Yes, I'm ready to invest next 2.5-3 months of time. Yes, I'm ready to invest 2 to 3 hours of time practice per day to learn. And if you are ready to learn and if you are ready to invest 2 to 3 hours per day without giving up, you can pursue the course. And in the past, and out of the 1100 plus professionals and job seekers I taught, I even saw people from teaching background, banking background, who are working in different background, successfully transition into the cloud and DevOps. I have saw people from mainframe background, operations background, COBOL background, NOC background, storage background, who made a successful footprint in their cloud and DevOps in my last 8 years. And in the last 3 years, the count has increased drastically. Okay, initially you might think, yes, this is a little tough, but if you feel that you're in the right way, and if you don't give up, you'll make a success footprint. Okay, so the answer, and how is the market for DevOps for the next 5 to 10 years? It's going to be huge, phenomenally huge. Just 5% of the companies has made the transition to cloud, and still they are going with conventional approaches. There are 95+%. You take any company, anything, they say DevOps and cloud are right now first class jobs in the industry. So the answer is huge. And services that we offer as a part of the course. Okay, so that is another thing that I want to talk. What are the services that we are going to offer as a part of the course? So each and every session will be recorded. Okay, so it's lifetime access to sessions. Okay, what are the services that we offer as a part of the training? Community support, where you can reach me for any sort of lab related questions. Okay, so we are going to offer you round the clock support. Whenever you're having any challenges or anything, you can post your questions in the community support channel. Okay, majority of the times we are going to address. In case if we are not able to address, we are also going to take the Zoom remote. And second thing, each and every session will be recorded, and each and every session will be with lifetime access. Okay, and we are going to work on two projects. One is a very big project, one monolithic project. What is monolithic? What is microservices? We'll talk that later. And one microservices project. And we are not going to do anything on sandbox. Everything is on AWS cloud. Everything is production. Everything is real time. Okay, and the training duration is 135 hours, and this includes DevOps with AWS. Okay, where we are going to start from beginning to very advanced. Okay, and the session timings are going to be Monday to Saturday at 6 to 7:30. I want every one of you to come with a good mindset. Okay, so if you wake up early day, or if you start, I mean, either all I care is it should be out of office hours. If you're joining from India, Monday to Saturday morning, 6 to 7:30, 1.5 hours per day. I want every one of you to attend the session and practice. In case if you're not able to practice also, I expect you to watch the session and practice. And we are here to help you. Okay, and all the topics that I promised will be delivered 100% by me. There won't be any separate engineer, separate trainer for separate topics. End to end, I'm going to cover. So for any sort of lab related questions, I am there to help you. Each and every session will be recorded with lifetime access, and two projects, and one is monolithic and another is microservices. And at the end, and the product and the project is enterprise class. Okay, it's an open statement. It's an enterprise class project, and the training duration, since this is a most hands-on practical training, it needs 135 hours of time. DevOps, AWS, Linux, all we are going to cover in detail, including site reliability engineering. And the session timings are going to be Monday to Saturday morning 6 to 7:30 if you are joining from India. Okay. Now next thing, anyone coming from operations, QA, Dev, mainframe, anyone can join. I have trained more than 1080 plus professionals and job seekers from different background, and this is my 55th batch. Anyone who started a career or yet to start their career in IT industry, yes. Anyone who is having career gap, if they are ready to invest time to learn something new and they want to make a footprint, Yes. Anyone who is working in the legacy technology? Yes. And if you are coming from an engineering background, if you are working as a managerial background, but you want to manage a team of DevOps and cloud, I trained more than 15 plus professionals who are managers who want to lead DevOps. They marked me, and they even gave me a Google rating that this training is very close to what they are implementing in their team. Okay. 5 to 10 engineering managers reviewed me on my album pro. And second thing, in my last 10 batches, we even have people who are coming from teaching and banking background who made a successful footprint in DevOps and cloud. So how about lab related help or support? So you'll be onboarded to a technical channel where you can reach us anytime for any sort of questions. In case if you are not able to help you, you can even connect over Zoom. Okay. A lot of people uses this to gain insights and get their blockers closed. As I mentioned, training is completely real time and everything will be on the top of 2 projects. And that also means you really don't have to have a big computer with big CPU or big memory. No, just come with a basic computer where you are comfortable. That's more than enough. Okay, because from the day 5 or 6 itself, we'll start at harvesting the services on cloud. So any basic computer where you are comfortable should be good. Okay, and each and every session will be recorded and will be shared with you, so you are not going to lose anything. In case if you want to watch again, in case if you miss some sessions, I'm there to help you. Recordings are there, and recordings are going to be your best friend. And once the completion of the training, based on the trainings you have done with us, we are going to publish a customized resume for you, which you can use it for your marketing, for your job search with a very minimal changes. And at the end of the training, we'll also share you 1000 plus real-time interview questions that are very close to the industry standard. Okay, but those you get even anywhere, but the training is close to the industry standard. Okay, and what are the prerequisites for this course? Only one thing: your ability and your readiness to invest time to learn something new that we are going to learn. And if you want any mock interviews about us, so yes, we take. If you're interested, if you're ready with the preparation, and Manu, if you want me to take a mock interview, yes, we have taken a lot. And if you're interested, yes, as per your request, we are ready to take as well. So interview questions, mock interviews, resume preparation, GitHub profile, 2 real-time projects, 135 hours of training, DevOps real-time plus cloud plus Linux we are going to cover. So that's about it. And tomorrow the session is going to start, and everyone who has registered, okay, you will get the session recordings from me. Okay, in case if you join, okay, you can use this link. So in case if you don't receive the session recording, please reach out to the person, whatever the meeting link that you have used that has the point of contact here, in case Bobby Brown, along with the number. Use this link and the number. In case if you don't receive the meeting recording, reach out to this person. In majority of the people join through me, and every one of you will receive the session recording. In case if you miss, reach out to the number, whichever you have used. That number has a point of contact. Please reach out to them. Okay, and once the and yeah, that's it. And yeah, as I said, from tomorrow sessions are going to be starting, and session timings are going to be Monday to Saturday morning 6 to 7:30. And if you're joining from states, session timings are going to be Sunday to Friday, 8:30 to 10 p.m. Eastern. And that's for today. I am good and I'm ready to take up the questions. I hope I addressed all your questions. If not, I'll check the chat window and I'll get your questions addressed. I'm good.